Hi, let me present you this exporter. It was designed especially for 2D game development, but it can be used for other export purposes as well. So how does this plugin work? First, let's open it. After installation, we will find it in Window, Extensions, Exporter. We have to do some preparations first. You can see that I have 3 layers in my document called blue line, green circle and red line. The name of each layer quite accurately describes its content. The first thing we have to do is to create a layer group. Let's call it something descriptive, such as export data. The name doesn't really matter. Now we have to create a data layer. That is a normal layer which has only one purpose, and that is to hold data about our export. We have to create an area in the document that we want to export. It will be always converted to a rectangle, because image is always a rectangle. We can use any tool such as brush, but the best way to create this area is to use the rectangle tool because it is easy to manipulate. You can set exact width and height, and you have more control overall. One layer in this group makes one exported image. The name of the layer is used as the name for the image. Let's move the opacity down so we can see our graphics and area of export together. Let's call this one blue and red lines. Let's do this again, but this one is going to be called green circle. I recommend using the underscores instead of spaces. During the export, all the spaces are going to be converted to hyphens. For this example, we are done with preparations. Now we can proceed to plugin itself. To perform a basic export, we have to select the group containing data layers. It is this one. Over there in the plugin there's a big button called Select a Group and press this button. When we click on it, the container with data layers from that group appears. Let's check the checkbox next to each data layer. By checking them, we are letting the plugin know that we want to export them. Let's move down to Export Destination section. We can see 2 buttons here. Automatic Export Destination will create a folder called Cutout Exports next to our document, but we have to save the document first. Choose an Export Destination button shows a dialog window that let us select folder to save the exported images to. By clicking on the Run, we will export our images. Let's take a look at our export. We can see that the dimensions of our exported images are the same as the content of the data layer, and that our images are not trimmed. Sometimes we want to see just red and blue lines in the exported image. We can imagine that we are designing a game character and we are adjusting character's eyes to fit the rest of its head. The obvious approach would be to place the objects on top of each other and do the adjustments. But naturally, we want to export eyes and the rest of the head separately. So let's take a look at layer comps. To demonstrate this, we will open Layer Comps panel. There are no layer comps yet. Layer comp or composition is a snapshot of layer states. Back to our buttons. U is a shorthand for update and S is a shorthand for show. If the plugin sees that there is a layer comp with the same name as our data layer, it will activate that layer comp when exporting that particular image area. We can check the look of that layer comp by clicking on the S button. Now let's turn off the visibility of the layer called green circle and let's click on a U button related to the data layer called blue and red lines. You can see the layer comp has been created. Now let's turn the visibility of the layer green circle back on and turn the visibility of the layer called red line and layer called blue line off. Let's select the data layer, green circle, and then click on the U button of that data layer again. Another layer comp has been created. Now let's click on the S button for each layer to see what is going to be exported. Let me just note that U button updates the layer comp if that layer comp already exists. Let's click on the Run button to test it out. Our image called Red and Blue Lines contains only red and blue lines, and the green circle image contains only the green circle. Now we can use Unique Mask for each exported image. Let's just create a layer mask, switch to Brush tool or any tool of your choice and mask the content of the data layer. Let's do this for both layers. If the layer comp doesn't contain the layer mask and masking is turned on, no masking will occur for that particular data layer. We have to tell plugin where to transfer the mask from the data layers. Let's create a group and move our layers with the drawings into that group. Let's select this group and press the button in the masking section. Button indicates whether the masking is currently on or off. Let's click on the Run button again to see the results. We can see that the portions of our image have been masked. Another nice feature is option to run your previously recorded action. Let's create one right now. I have opened a new document with default layer into which I have drawn the random object. Click on the icon to create and record a new action. Let's name it Tutorial Action. Let's add some effect to the edges of the object. Let's do a bit more. Create a new pattern layer, adjust it a little bit, and finally clip it to the default layer. Just remember to start and build up from the default layer and do not return back to that layer when recording actions to avoid errors. We are done with the action, so let's stop the recording. Now let's go back to our original document. Let's put the name of the action in the action field and the name of the action set into action set field. And let's turn Run Custom Action After Export on. Let's run the script and wait to see the result. You can see that our custom recorded action was applied. Finally, let's take a look at some settings. You can set not to reset your panel when minimalized or turned off by turning the Keep Data Around switch on. Some export settings are self-explanatory, such as export even when area is empty, or open folder after export. Make history snapshot checkbox makes a snapshot in the document history when checked. This plugin creates a lot of history states, so if you are afraid that you may lose your data, check this checkbox. You can quickly apply Gaussian blur. This is useful in 2D game development scenarios. If you set this value to 0, no blur will apply. I hope that this plugin will help you create great games, animations, artwork, or whatever you are willing to use it for. Bye!